You are doing it wrong. 99% of buyers are failing, and I'm going to show you how you can succeed. Hi everybody, Cristina Ingram here with the Ingram Group of Keller Realty Las Vegas. I'm here to talk about basically the buying process, how it works, what happens when you get into escrow, and basically how it goes. So with the buying process, obviously, it starts off with number one, you getting approved by a lender. Or if you're paying cash, you're showing your proof of funds, how you're buying with a home. So most likely, if this is your first purchase and you're wanting to know how the buying process goes, I would say the majority of people get financing. So they're going to get a lender, whether they're putting 3%, 5%, whatever down. They talk to a lender so we know what we can be looking for and shopping for. And then after that, we start shopping, we look, we find something that we like, and we construct that offer using the data that's on the MLS. Recently sold, what's currently on the market, the condition of the home, various things. So we'll go look at the home. I will look at the market data, sit down with you, and we will discuss on what you're willing to pay for a house. And depending on if there are tons of offers on the home or if there's no offers on the home is how I'm going to guide you. Whether we might have some wiggle room to get some closing costs maybe negotiated in, or a home warranty paid for, or if those are items that we have to pay for ourselves because there might be a lot of competition on the property. So it's all going to depend on the type of market you're buying in and also the current conditions of that current house, if they have multiple offers or if they have no offers. So it all just depends. So once we get to that point, we submit the offer. I like to add in, make sure we have contingency dates to make sure that you are protected. So we put an offer and we show it with the earnest money deposit that you're willing to put up to show that to the seller that you are actually really interested in purchasing their home. The earnest money deposit is basically a good faith deposit that will hold all parties to go forward with the contract if the contract is accepted. So we send it over to the seller and a few things can happen. They can either A, just accept it outright, the terms that we've outlined, and we go open escrow with the earnest money deposit, or they might send us a counter. Maybe there's something in there that they want added, or they just reject. So those are usually the three options that you get. And if they decide to counter, if you don't have to take their counter, you can say, no, these are my terms, and then we can go back and forth, or you can accept their counter and we open escrow. But once we open escrow and the offer is accepted, we have things that we need to make sure that we do. So we will make sure that, number one, that we're doing the inspection period. And the inspection period is basically to make sure that the home is sound. There's nothing wrong with the major components and that there's nothing wrong with the health and safety of the home. Now, during this inspection, you may notice some cosmetic things. Our contracts actually state that we're going to make requests for repairs that are actually going to affect the value and the health and safety of the home. Normal wear and tear is not something necessarily something I'm going to ask for. If it's a little ding in the wall, something that can be a $10 fix, that normally should fall on to the buyer because you looked at the house, you know what you're getting. Now, if there are things such as a broken down AC, a huge water leak in the property that could actually cause mold or something, those are, or an electrical problem where you can get electrocuted or an electrical fire start in the home, those are items that you're going to want to make sure that get repaired. So we're going to make sure we get those repaired. We go back to the seller, we negotiate, we give our list of items, of reasonable items. And the seller will either, they can say, yes, we'll make the repairs. No, we're not going to make the repairs. You're going to buy it as is. And at that point, if they're not willing, you can still cancel the contract and go look for another home or come to some other agreement. But basically, that's another little negotiating period time during the escrow process of buying a home. Once that process is done and we've come to terms and we move on to the next process, the appraisal would be the next part too. So the appraisal is basically third party's opinion on what the price is. After the appraisal is done, we'll move on to the next period. Now, if the appraisal doesn't come in, because there are times that we've had this happen where an appraisal doesn't come in, you go back and negotiate. What I typically like to do is make sure and see if the seller will come down to the appraised value. As long as we have a reasonable appraisal and it's not something that is egregiously different, that's usually where we're at. So I like to always ask the seller to come down. Now, the seller does have the option of challenging the appraisal too, because it is their home, it is their equity, so they have that right. A lot of times that's not very successful. Appraisers sometimes don't like to have their opinions challenged because at the end of the day, that's all it is. But it is their opinion that matters when you're getting a loan. So your appraisal, and I'll let you know typically at the beginning when we put in the offer where I think appraised value should be, whether the home is overlisted, underlisted, wherever I think we can make a good argument. And I could say I have a pretty good track record with appraisals. I have had some come in under, and it does happen. And we can challenge, or the seller may lower, or you may split the difference. Like let's say it's a $10,000 difference from contract price to appraisal price. They may come up 5, you come down 5, and you meet in the middle. So it just depends, and as long as we're in agreement, we move forward to the next stage, which the next stage would be doing your final walk after all that's done. And after your final walk, to make sure everything that in the initial inspection that we did was corrected, that we had asked to be corrected, and then we close escrow. So you're going to go to the signing. You're going to sign basically what feels like a whole tree's worth of paperwork, and you're going to sign basically some of the same disclosures over and over and over again. You're going to sign. Once that happens, you wire your down payment. The seller or the lender will wire their funds, and then once all that is done, escrow receives. They'll make sure that everything is correct, and then we'll close escrow. And in the state of Nevada, basically, they'll let us know when they've released a record. And then once we get confirmation of that recording, you are a homeowner, and I will happily give you your keys. So that, in a nutshell, is the buying process. So this is Cristina with Keller Williams Realty Las Vegas. And again, I am looking to be your real estate agent of choice and also your real estate resource of choice in the Las Vegas, Nevada area. So if you're looking to either buy or sell a home in Las Vegas, Summerlin, Henderson, Lake Las Vegas, Boulder City, and all the places in between, give me a call. I'll talk to you guys next video.